to order, please, of the Economic Development Committee. Still awaiting one of my colleagues, but we will take public comment. We will begin with that general public comment. First up, we have Ms. McAllister.
Okay, just public comment right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I have other items. I get those later?
Yes.
Okay. Public comment. I think there's discrimination against African Americans in the microloan program. And I will do a Freedom of Information Act to find out who's getting, the mic is not on, who's getting the loans and who's defaulting, how much defaults. I see the requirement to get these I'm a former business owner from Chicago, 12 years owning a technology school for programmers. And so I know about the MBE, WB, and all that, and I don't see that as a requirement for these people getting microloans. All I see is that they have to be low to moderate income people. And if they're not low to moderate income people, they can be millionaires as long as they create a few jobs. So I can see vast discrimination here because people who with money can get them, and African Americans are not. And also illegal aliens are probably getting most of these loans, the Mexicans, the Latinos, and the Asians. So we will find out through Freedom of Information. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Herman. Public comment.
Yeah, we're definitely in a problem. And that problem just is not just about economics. It's about the homeless crisis and that of illegal immigrants occupying Americans' places in the community. And Ms. McAllister's right. You know, you can't service to illegal immigrants and people who are here illegally to prosper on the so-called entitlements that they're demanding. Now, if I was Jeff Sessions, I'd come to City Hall and shut you guys all down right now because what you're doing is illegal, conducting, first of all, this quorum with only one representation, which is you, Mr. Price. Wetback Weezer from Zacatecas is not here. Stupid Silverton Cop is not here. And once again, Herman Jason Wesson is a motherfucking racist. Stop kicking people out of public meetings.
But you may stay for comment.
I got another minute? That's it.
General public comment. Multiple items.
Okay, so as you already know, that problem with Rue and his 27th year career of trying to date women while they're asleep in a car is a concern. You know, we
stay on this topic, man. Come on.
Well, the topic is we have an elected official who's a threat to the public. You know, I don't know what he might slip a roofie in one of my drinks here at City Hall, or maybe give me an indecent proposal for a job. But this is an item about the city's clerk report relative to the greater Chinatown. Since we have a fucking stupid, dumb politician by the name of Rue who likes to fucking date rip women when they're asleep in a car. And then we go to CD 12, we have a tyrant regarding the report of Old Granada Village. Well, on behalf of Granada Village, fuck that stupid councilman in that area out there. And then we go to item 3, since you want me to tell you what item I'm on, sir. City clerk's report relative to the fucking East Hollywood property-based bid. Well, there's not enough bidding for housing for the homeless. And then we go into item 10. What, Latino quarter? What do you mean Latino quarter? It's time to have American representation and stop abusing the American Disability Act by stating that people here illegally are entitled to program services and activities based on ADA. They're not suffering from a disability other than that they came into this country illegally. They're taking up all the units, all the space, and again, it's just an offensive, bad rule of local government when it comes to having illegal immigrants in this country claiming entitlements and DACA is going to rule.
Thanks for your comments.
Yeah.
Ms. McAllister, I think you're next. General comments? 2 minutes.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about also. Now, let's go to item number 10 first, and here it says that this Latino quarter, a Pico area. Now, here's the deal. I looked at the budget. So you have a budget. So what I do, I go and read all the correspondence you wrote about years ago. You know, it's online. And you wrote this budget for 2018 that you're going to put $89,000 into the landscaping and sanitation and beautification of this Latino quarter. Now, this is for District 1, Cedillo, and 10, which is Herb Wesson. Now, I know for a fact Cedillo's district near MacArthur Park down there, it looks like Mexico. I mean, it's filthy. People with stuff all on the ground. I got a picture of myself of one lady serving food, a hand on her breast. I guess she's putting some breast milk on the food. They have no doggone licenses, no check by the Board of Health or nothing to make sure that food is safe, but you let them go out there and do that. If we did in the black community, you would arrest us all. We want them off the street over there, so there's no beautification. Trash everywhere. I mean, dogs, feces. You act like that's their own town. They don't own that MacArthur Park area. And you're building housing over there. Who are you building it for? For them. Nobody else is going to. I'm not going to go over there and live. You going to go over there? They're all illegal aliens. So you're building housing over there, and I think we need to put a stop on all housing that's built in illegal alien neighborhoods. No new housing because it's for them. So I want to know about this $89,000 because it's definitely ain't got going over there to clean up anything. Now, I want to go to, I also have item number 8, Marquise, and the other two guys. And then I did mention about the discrimination. So I'm really interested in this microloan program. I was going to go in depth in that because that's an important program for African Americans that they can really use to start small businesses. And I want to make sure that they get that money.
Okay, thank you. We've been joined by Councilman Huizar. Mr. Huizar, thanks for your presence. That will end the public comment. Public comment is now closed. And so, without objection, Mr. Huizar, we're going to take items 1 through 16, 18, and 21 on consent, unless there's an objection. No objection. That will be the order. Okay, thank you. Item 17, Mr. Clerk.
Item 17, motion Buscano-Price relative to instructing the Chief Legislative Analyst to evaluate the new federal opportunity zones and report with recommendations on how to establish zones in the city with consideration of promise zones, clean up green zones, and transformative climate communities where possible. Additionally, we are in receipt subsequent to the release of the agenda, a report from the CLA subsequent, I believe the copies were placed in front of you there, dated February 12, 2018.
So,
Gentlemen?
good afternoon, John Wickham with the Office of the Chief Legislative Analyst. And
And you're joined by?
Henry Flatt, also with the Chief Legislative Analyst.
Welcome, Henry.
so, motion introduced by Mr. Buscaino is instructs the CLA to, and Mr. Price, instruct the CLA's office to do some research onto this new tax incentive zone opportunity that was created in the tax bill that was approved by the Congress late last year. There is a deadline coming up on this. The governor has until March 21st, I believe it is, to designate census tracts in the state of California that would qualify for this tax incentive. So if the city of Los Angeles, is to advise the governor on which census tracts in the city of Los Angeles make the most sense to include in that tax incentive program, we ought to provide that information to the governor's office as soon as possible. So this was a quick start on trying to tackle that problem, and what I'll do is pass this over to Henry. He can explain how the tax incentive program works and some of the preliminary work that we've done.
Good afternoon. So before you is a report that discusses the federal opportunity zones. And so basically what the federal opportunity zone program is, it offers 3 tax incentives for investing in low-income communities through a qualified opportunity fund. So the opportunity zones are basically the census tracts that have met a certain criteria, and the opportunity funds are the vehicles through which people will invest money into those The three ways are,
So there's no one fund, there'll be a series of.
it'll be a series of funds, exactly. And so the three ways are, number one, you just get a temporary deferral from unrealized capital gains, so that you get basically just waive taxes altogether. The second way is a step up in basis. So the basis is increased by 10% if the investment in the opportunities fund, in the opportunity fund is held by the taxpayer for at least 5 years, and by an additional 5% if held for at least 7 years. So basically what this is saying is that if you have $100 and you hold on to an investment, you'll be taxed like it's 90, and if you hold on to it for an additional 2 years for a total of 7 years, it'll be taxed like it's $85. And if you hold on to that money, if you hold on to the investment for a total of 10 years, then you get a complete exclusion from capital gains taxes. So that's the incentive for investing in a lot of these projects in lower income communities. We're currently in the process of identifying where we want to put these opportunity zones. Our office would.
You mean in terms of identifying qualifying census tracts?
Yes, sir. And we want to do it to prioritize job creation, and we're still in the process of communicating with the councilman's, everyone's staffs. And,
So when do you hope to have, when you have that consultation process completed with staff, so that the department's in a position to make a recommendation?
Yeah, so on the report, there's a draft map that indicates those census tracts that we know are eligible. The motion itself requested that we also consider the promise zones, the transformative climate communities, and the cleanup greenup zones as additional factors for recommending census tracts. So that's a way of going to the governor and saying, look, we would be able to take other zones that are operational and add this new incentive to really make some transformative changes in these areas. So, for example, the promise zones are in council districts 9 and 8 and part of 14, as well as 13, 10, and 1. So there are a lot of areas where it makes sense to overlay these kinds of zones to get the best impact. The other thing that we need to do, though, is make sure that we're targeting census tracts where there's a lot of job creation opportunity. We shouldn't be recommending census tracts with a lot of housing in them, because there's not a lot of opportunity to create a lot of jobs in those census tracts. So we need to parse that out a little bit and find those census tracts where there's a lot of job creation potential. But the map is a good place to start. We know from the federal government that these are the census tracts that are eligible, and as you can see, there are quite a lot of tracts in the city that qualify. The governor can pick 25% of the eligible census tracts in the state of California. So there are something like 3,700 census tracts in California that qualify. He can pick 25% of that, so that's about 900 census tracts. We think that there are probably more census tracts in Los Angeles that should be included in that. He shouldn't just say, okay, 25% of the tracts in Los Angeles. It should be more than that.
So how are we going to make that case, too?
So again, it's this concept of we're going to recommend tracts where there's more than one incentive program already operational. And so we can do things like the promise zones, or we can, for example, in CD14, there's a concept of a biotech zone. So all of these job hub type concepts and job development zones would be the highest priority. And then we can add additional tracks that are maybe adjacent to those, so that we can get some real strong clusters.
I think that's the right way to do it, like you say, to try to leverage some resources. And I think piggybacking on existing designated areas is a good way to do that. Yeah. And you mentioned that the governor's going to make this decision March 28th, right around that time?
21st.
March 1st?
21st.
Oh, 21st. Okay. So we still have some time, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So the governor needs to submit the list of tracts to the Secretary of the Treasury by that date.
Okay. And our goal is to submit our priorities by...
As soon as we can. And so since we don't have a final map here, the options for you are to send this forward to council, and we could bring in a final map in council, or we could bring this to your next meeting on February 27th and then get it into council as soon as possible so that can move
I think
forward.
that would be the preference. Mr. Weezer, any comments? Thoughts? Okay. So let's continue this item to February the 27th, and instruct the CLA to report back with a priority list of census tracts, the final map, and a resolution.
Okay, great.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Sounds exciting. Okay, item 19.
Item 19, City Administrative Officer and Economic and Workforce Development reports relative to the establishment of a revolving microloan fund program. This also has been referred to the Housing Committee.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Miguel Acuña with the Economic and Workforce Development Department. We're here to...
And?
Daisy Hernandez with EWTD.
And?
Shafia Amir from the CIO's office.
Welcome.
Thank you. So we're here to request implementation of a microloan program to service the microenterprise and small businesses in the city of Los Angeles using CDBG funds to implement it. We'll request an initial $250,000 of funding for this year with additional 5 years.
Is this block grant money? Is this block
Community,
grant
yeah, community block grant. And we'll come back for another 5 years to request additional funding. We want to build up to $1.5 million for our revolving loan fund to do microloans. The term sheet will...
How many loans do you think you'll be able to?
We estimate
to
that
give at
for
this point?
$250,000, an average of about 15 loans. So that's what we want to be able to come back every year to build it up.
Did you have a comment? I'm sorry.
So the term sheet will be loans from $10,000 all the way up to $50,000 for micro businesses and small businesses. The term rates will be about 7 to 9%, which is very, what the market is going on right now. Eligibility.
So these are like discounted loans. What's the advantage? Just at a smaller
The
amount?
advantage will be that we are to service businesses that have challenges getting loans in the regular market due to, maybe poor credit or not having enough collateral to secure a loan.
Do they have to show they've been turned down? Is that a requirement, that they've been rejected someplace?
Right.
Yes.
Either through a bank or a community lender.
And this gives options for people who cannot get finance. So this is what the city is just providing that option and allowing businesses to grow with this funding.
Are we going to offer any application assistance to our business source centers?
That is correct. The
So
purpose is to connect with the business or centers or any other technical assistance providers in the community to provide services and get them ready and help them package the loan so we can take a look at their applications.
In anticipation of our street vending permit program, which I'm hopeful will happen within our lifetime, we'll be able to offer these loans to vendors. Are they going to be eligible?
That's correct. So if they are in the city of Los Angeles and they meet, our criteria, they'll be eligible to apply for a microloan program.
So is there a residency requirement, or just the business be located in the city?
Just the business located in either or. So if they live in the city or if the business is located in the city, we'll be able to provide a loan.
Okay. Mr. Weezer, I'm sorry.
And I just want to add that the qualification criteria for the program is consistent with the requirements for the funding source. So it's federal regulations that we follow, and we're, again, remaining consistent with those qualification criteria.
Now, how did you come up with the 10,000 to 50,000 range?
It was just a matter of, the administrative capacity of the department. There are other programs in the community that can go below the $5,000. Opportunity Fund is one of those resources
No,
available.
I'm sorry. So for example, someone wanted a $5,000 loan, which
Right.
you said there's some
Right,
programs
Opportunity
available for
Fund.
that?
We would make a referral to Opportunity Fund. They're one of our partners through the business or centers. Last year, they did 56 loans in conjunction with the business or centers.
At $5,000 or
They'll
what?
go down to as little as $2,600.
So the administratively, it just was more feasible to go with a $10,000 minimum, just so we could, maintain capacity and implement the program more efficiently. And we're adding basically an item to the menu of options that the business owners will have. So we're trying to fill in the gaps of, the access to capital.
And is the loan program is run out of the Business Source Center? Will be operating out of the Business Source Center?
No, the loan program will be administrated directly by Economic and Workforce Development Department.
Oh, okay.
We will have the business source centers as one of the entry points, but we're also going to connect with anybody else in the community that provides technical assistance to submit loans directly to our department.
Mr. Weezer.
No questions.
Any thoughts? Well, I think this is great. I think it's a good start. We've been talking about a micro program for some time. And even though you referenced another organization that provides loans as low as $5,000, I really would like to see this one do that as well. I don't think we can offer too many programs. So I'm going to recommend that we amend recommendation 2 of the report to lower the amount from $10,000 to $5,000 and approve the CAO report as amended. Unless we have any other comments.
Second time.
All right. Well, that'll be the order. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
and,
much.
we're looking forward to this program. Stoko. Item 20.
Item 20, Joint Municipal Facilities, Los Angeles for Kids Steering Committee report relative to the following. Authorizing the acquisition of parcels at 18128 and 18210 Sherman Way for construction of the Receipt Escape Facility. Approval of proposed project conceptual plan and proposed project financing plans for said facility. Categorical exemption findings under the California Environmental Quality Act for said facility. Additionally, there is a CRA-LA Bond Oversight Committee report relative to appropriation of CRA-LA excess non-housing bond proceeds for property acquisition for the Receipt Escape Facility. This matter has also been referred to the Arts, Entertainment, Parks, and River Committee and will be heard in council this Friday, the 16th.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Maria Ramos with the Office of the CAO. Before you is the report for the Reseda Skate Facility, requesting approval of conceptual plans as well as requesting to exercise the city's options to acquire the subject property. Just a quick background, on August 18th of 2017, Council adopted a motion instructing RAP with the assistance of all involved departments to proceed with the acquisition of a CRA-LA property located at Sherman Way in Reseda and to prepare a financing plan for the development of an ice and roller rink facility. The city has until March 2nd, 2018 to exercise its option to acquire the property. In January of 2018, the RAP board authorized RAP to proceed with the acquisition of the property for park purposes and has approved their proposed conceptual plan for the project. The project concept assumes the development of a 60-foot by 120-foot roller hockey rink, approximately 26,000 square foot ice rink building, and 127 space parking lot. The facility will be designed to be ADA accessible, and the total cost estimate as proposed is approximately $25.7 million.
John Wickham with the CLA again. After the Bond Oversight Committee reviewed this project, it was determined that there was some additional flexibility that would be available for funding the project. The project uses $4 million in CRA-LA bond funds, and when the Bond Oversight Committee looked at this, it was thought that they could only use taxable bonds. It turns out after that meeting that they could also possibly use tax-exempt bonds for this project. And so an amendment is recommended to you to adjust the language to allow either taxable or tax-exempt bonds, the CRA-LA tax-exempt bond proceeds in this project, subject to review by the city attorney. And that provides the city some flexibility in using the funds in the best way possible for this project and for the city as well. So.
Mr. Weezer, any comment? Questions? Okay, we'll approve the recommendation as amended and look forward to it coming to council.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairs, for clarification, are we going to approve just the amended recommendations on the CRA-LA Bond Oversight Committee? Because we have two reports. We're just going to go with this one.
It should be both the MFC report and the amended Bond Oversight Committee report.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Clerk, what else do we have today?
this concludes the agenda. We have heard over every item.
Okay, well, with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Right.